Welcome to a new episode of TLDR, CISPA's first podcast series. TLDR is short for Too Long Didn't Read, and we chose this title because we want to save you the hassle of reading long research papers. We do this by directly talking to our researchers about their work. My name is Tobias Ebelshäuser from CISPA's Communication Department, and joining me virtually today from New Delhi is our new faculty, Dr. Mridula Singh. We're all working from our homes again, so please excuse the perhaps less than stellar audio quality that virtual interviews involve. Mridula has just achieved her PhD from ETH Zurich this year with her work on secure distance measurement and positioning methods. Today we're talking about how her research is being put to practice now and in the future. Hi Mridula, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Hi Tobias.
So Mridula, you're fairly new at CISPA. I think you started in October, is that correct?
Yes, I just started about 2 months back.
Okay, and how do you like it so far? Did you get to know CISPA? And I mean, what are your first impressions of working here?
I'm liking it very much. It's a new place for sure, but I'm getting used to here, and everyone is super nice, good colleagues. Everyone around is very helpful, so I'm finding it very nice.
Okay, that sounds very good. I'm happy you're here, and I'm wishing you all the best for your future research. But as of now, let's just talk about your current research. So, in your thesis, you analyzed the security of existing ranging systems. Can you maybe explain what those are and how they are being used?
Yeah, so ranging basically is the process of measuring distance between two devices using wireless signal. For example, let's say if you bring your key fob near to your car unlocks. So basically over there, the car and key are trying to measure distance with each other. And they are doing it by exchanging wireless signals. And this is called the ranging process. And what I am working on is the security of these systems. Similar process is also used for accessing the buildings or even verifying the credential of your electronic passport. So from these application space, you can kind of understand that if attacker get control of your ranging information, or if an attacker can control this ranging process, a lot worse can be done. For example, there are already cases of car being stolen. The cases of car stealing has already been reported a lot. So my work is on how these systems work, like how to analyze the security of these systems, as well as how to design new systems where we can argue about their security, so that the systems that we are producing for the future are also secure.
So I'm guessing if you're saying that there have been cases of cars being stolen, your research showed that these systems are not very secure, or at least not all of them are very secure. I mean, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Not all of these systems are secure. There are a lot of cases of car being stolen. And my research shows that you can design these systems to be secure. And many of the new cars are actually adopting that technology, where they are using the secure alternative to make this process secure.
Could you maybe explain a little bit about why these ranging systems haven't been secure in the past, or what allows an attacker to be able to steal a car by exploiting a vulnerability? Can you explain how that works, or how that didn't work in the past?
Yeah, so far, car were using RSSI-based system. So basically, the car was measuring signal strength of the signal that is arriving at the car or at the key. And over there, performing attack is very simple. Even the relay setup, which attacker can use to forward these signals and amplify, are available in the market in less than $100. So basically, this is a very good investment for any attacker who want to steal car, because you can use this $100 setup to steal a lot of cars. Right? And this is so easy that you just need to put this device in the middle, and it will do the things by its own, because it just have to amplify the signal and nothing more.
Okay, so basically, if I'm sitting in a cafe with my car keys in my pocket and my car is, I don't know, like 100 meters away in the street, someone can just go in the middle with this device you told us about, and they can steal my car, basically, if I have a keyless go system.
So it is so easy that because they just have to amplify, because the car is just measuring how much the power of the signal is. And that is very easy to manipulate.
Okay.
So idea is to use a bit more than signal strength, for example, time of flight, because attacker now have to invest something more than just amplification.
Okay, so time of flight probably means how long does the signal have to travel from the key to the car. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So, but these measures, these security measures are probably only being implemented into new cars. So if I have an older car, do I now have to wrap my car keys in tinfoil if I want it to be safe? Or are there any ways I can like secure my car, or something I can do?
So for old car, no, there is no way of securing them. You actually have to foil them in a tin wrap. For the new car, they are designing these systems based on time of flight based ranging. And also you have to consider that not all time of flight based ranging systems are secure. Over there also we have a wide variety of designs, and some are more secure than other.
Could you maybe explain how time of flight works? Like, what does this exactly mean?
It basically means the time signal take to travel from one device to another. And the idea is that since signal travel with the speed of light, nothing can make it faster. So our car and the keys are sending bits, and these bits need to be correct in order for the distance to be measured, because they have to find whether this data is actually sent by this car or this data is actually sent by a key. But when we are converting this bit to the signal, we are not sending just one bit, we are sending some signal over a time. An attacker can manipulate how this signal looks like in order to advance it. Hence, the measured distance would be shorter in that case.
Okay, so is that your approach? Because you said you are researching new ways to make cars or make like wireless communication between a car key and a car more secure. Is time of flight, is that part of your approach, or does your approach go even further?
No, there already existed approach for time of flight measurement. There even existed approach for secure time of flight measurement. However, they were still not in use, because these systems could either achieve security or they could achieve performance. But if there is not a system which can achieve both performance and security at the same time, we cannot use them in a real system, in the real world. So what my work did was that I proposed a technique which can achieve both performance and security at the same time. Therefore, now we can use this technique in the real world.
Okay, so before your research, basically, that meant that my car key was very secure, but it took 10 minutes. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it took 10 minutes to unlock the car. Is that what you're saying, that you had to balance performance versus security?
No, there we will have to go in a different realm. There it would be like, if your key is in your pocket, your car will not unlock.
Okay.
The time would still be the same. It would just not work. You always have to bring your key out of your pocket and then unlock the car. So it basically take away the functionality for what these keys were being designed, because idea is that even if your key is in your purse or in your wallet and you are carrying a grocery bag in your hands, it should work so that you can easily access the car.
Yes.
But if you only have to open your car by taking your key out, it is taking the functionality away.
Yeah, so you can basically buy a normal car key and unlock it. Yeah, while you're pressing a button. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
At least it will be secure in that case.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm not sure if everyone really understands this correctly. So maybe let's just talk about how a keyless car system works. How does my car know that I am standing in front of it and want to enter and unlocks for me? How does that work?
Okay, so car and key are exchanging data with each other. And by using this data, they verify that this is the actual key that belonged to this car.
So they're basically sending like a passphrase, like a password. I think that's
Let's call it a password, or say it is a challenge and response. So car generate a challenge, and this key fob process this challenge and provide a correct response. If a car receives this correct response, it basically says that, okay, this response is coming from the actual key, because it is harder for any attacker to generate this correct response.
Okay, but if a car and relies only on the general password, let's call it that, or a passphrase, then this is quite, as you said, this is quite vulnerable to attacks, because if someone is in the middle and amplifies the code that is just in the pocket of a person sitting in a cafe, then the car will start anyway because the correct passphrase is being entered. And that's where other techniques come in.
Exactly. Let's understand it this way, that the key, so the attacker can amplify whatever signal or the data that car is sending. So data is always converted into signal when it is transmitted. And attacker can always amplify this signal. So car will receive the correct data and the key will also receive the correct data, because this data is still generated by both car and the key, which are like actual entities, like the current legitimate entities, but they are being forwarded by an attacker. Because attacker is not trying to impersonate as the actual key, it is just trying to relay the data from one to another.
And that's where the time of flight checks come in, as you've said before.
Exactly. That's where the time of flight checks come in, because now if, let's say, car and the key are 100 meters apart, and attacker would now to reduce the time of flight, because time of flight for 100 meter is more than the time of flight for 2 or 3 meter, which actually car checks that if you are in the 2 or 3 meter distance, the car should unlock, otherwise it should not unlock. In that case, now attacker have to manipulate time of flight, which is also possible if these time of flight based ranging systems are not designed properly. But obviously, it is harder than just amplification.
Yeah, okay. So, but your approach, the one that you developed and which is already being used in newer cars, that fixes this kind of vulnerability of time of flight. Is that correct?
Yes. So the idea is to design the system which is both secure and performant. And that's what my technique solves.
Let's not go into too much detail about how your new approach makes keyless car systems more secure. Let's just say it seems like it really does make it more secure because it is already being built into new cars. So can you maybe explain how something like that works? How does your research make it into a real product? How do car makers approach you, or how does this general transfer work?
So 3DB, which is a startup in Zurich, was already working on this idea, on the idea of making keyless entry and start system secure. And it was a good opportunity for me to contribute. And I helped them by designing this approach and proving that this is a secure alternative for whatever exists so far.
So when it comes to automotive security, your work does not stop at keyless systems. You are also researching methods for secure positioning of autonomous vehicles. Can you explain why that will be important in the future?
For the autonomous vehicles, one of the important requirements is that they should be able to locate themselves, as well as they should have the information that where everything else is located. For example, there is a vehicle 10 meters ahead, or there is a vehicle 10 meters on the back. And this information is very important if they don't want to collide with each other. And that's where my research comes into picture. I'm trying to figure out where these devices, these vehicles are located, And if they can measure distance with nearby vehicles accurately and securely. And I'm using here 5G technology to perform these ranging and positioning.
Okay, so that means 5G networks. We're basically talking about like a mobile network, like what I need for my phone to be able to call someone or to be able to upload cat pictures to the internet. So we have a 5G network, and cars are connected with each other via this network. And do they need additional hardware to be able to position themselves, or will it just be enough for them to be locked into that network?
So the idea of the 3GPP is already to enable 5G communication between cars. And my idea is to strengthen that process by enabling positioning. And if these 5G devices are already available on these vehicles, we would not need any extra hardware. We can reuse the same hardware for positioning as well. So there is no need for anything extra. We are using whatever 3GPP is already proposing.
And how would that positioning work? I mean, how would a 5G signal enable a car to know where it is, or enable another car to know where this car is?
So over there, we perform ranging with each other. So basically, we figure out like, okay, how much time of flight it takes for another car to send a signal and get the signal back. Right? The same concept which we used for the car and the key fob. Over here, we are doing the same process between two cars, or we can even use the same thing for the positioning, where we measure time of flight from different base stations. And if we are able to receive signal from different base stations, we can locate that, okay, my vehicle is at this location.
So it's basically triangulation, like the same thing that happens with GPS.
Exactly. So you can kind of say that this is a local GPS.
Okay, I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
You can call it a local GPS or local system, which provides secure ranging, because GPS so far is not secure. But 5G approach that I have designed is secure. So there is a possibility that we can combine GPS along with the secure 5G communication to enable a secure system, secure hybrid positioning system, where we are sure that this device is located at this location, which we cannot do by using only GPS.
Can you maybe say a few words about why security is so important when it comes to this kind of positioning in autonomous vehicles?
Certainly, because consider this way, attacker might try to collide two vehicles because it might just be in his favor to do that. Or attacker might want to move like my intended location is location A, but attacker might want to move it to location B. And attacker can do that if attacker can control my location.
So basically, let's say I am sitting in an autonomous car and I say I want to drive to St. Ingbert, but an attacker wants to drive me to Saarbrücken. Then he can just change the location in my car if it is vulnerable to that. And then I might be going where the attacker wants me to go.
Yes, there exists some research where researchers have shown that by manipulating GPS, attacker can move you from location A to location B. So I'm not sure if we can move you from St. Ingbert to Saarbrücken, but there might exist a possibility.
Well, it certainly sounds like important research, because I don't want my autonomous vehicle to crash into another because some attacker wants me to do so. So, I mean, how far along is that research? How are the plans for the future? When do you think this will be implemented?
I think it will take some time. So I just published my first paper in this direction in NDSS, which enables secure ranging. So we have now a physical layer which can prevent against positioning attacks. But there is still a lot of work that need to be done, like how this physical layer would be used, how it will be integrated in the whole 5G architecture. So I think there's some time for this to happen, but I'm looking for a better future.
Well, I certainly hope that your research will make it into autonomous vehicles in the future, because that sounds really, really important and also really, really interesting. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk about your research to me. And let me just ask you 5 quick questions at the end. So first one, do you use a password manager? And if yes, why? And if no, why not?
Yes, I do, because I have found myself earlier reusing the password, which is not a very good thing to do. So if you are still using trying to remember the password, don't do that. Use password manager.
Okay. Have you ever fallen for a phishing email yourself?
I might have. Maybe I just don't know.
Okay. Better to not know than probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you handle your private data differently than you do with your data here at work?
I sometimes does, because I am posting maybe some of my photos in social media, but I would never do that to anything related to my work.
Okay. Smart home, yes or no?
No, not so far, but I might change into more smart home-like kind of person in future.
Okay.
That's very likely.
So are you just not using it because of concerns of data privacy, or is it just that you haven't got around to it yet?
Both, actually. I'm taking my sweet time to decide whether I want to even use that or not.
Okay. I mean, take your time. That's fair.
Yeah, I do care about my privacy, and given that kind of research I am doing, I have to be sure that, okay, what I am leaking, because I know I can leak a lot.
Okay. I use a lot of smart home, so I'm not sure if I want to hear that answer, but okay. And the last one, how do you feel about cryptocurrencies, and have you ever invested personally?
I haven't personally invested in cryptocurrencies, so I don't want to tell what others should be doing.
Okay, that's fair. So, Mridula, thank you very, very much for taking the time to do this with us. And I wish you all the best in your future research. And I'm hoping I get the chance to talk to you again.
Yeah, thank you, Tobias. It was nice talking to you.
Have a nice day and see you around. Bye.
See you. Bye.